Hey guys, welcome to I don't know. Sometimes we're around here, sometimes we're not. A pop-up Bucks Live. Hi, it's Rick and Dave, and I think we're both pretty excited about this season. There's certainly a lot to be excited about. So let's talk some Bucks.
Are you ready?
Get ready. It's time for Bucs Live.
Wait a minute. Bucs Live.
Bucs Live.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers talk with Rick Hughes and David Whitecarver.
This is
Bucs Live.
Let's go.
Let's go. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Bucks Live. What's that? 2-0? 2?
It has many meanings.
2. It has many. If you're a Bucks fan, that has many meanings.
This way, that's for Tyreek Hill.
Hey, oh, there you go.
Wherever he may be at the moment.
Looking for a new quarterback, probably. Okay. So, the Bucks had a little game on Sunday. I don't know if you saw a little bit of a game on Sunday. And I will tell you straight up, I did not expect a victory. I said to Todd from Winter Park, I was speaking to him, and I said to Todd, if we can just keep it close, that would be a victory because there were so many injuries. And, I'd like to sit here and act like I knew it all along, and I'm a big enough fan to where I just can't see the Bucks losing. No, I thought they were going to lose. I was hopeful. I knew it was possible, but I honestly thought keeping it close was going to be was really the main goal at most. And hey, Christopher, by the way, how you doing, Christopher? It is Victory Tuesday. Guys, surprise, surprise, this team, I got to tell you, I love this team. I really love this team. If you've been around and heard Dave and I talking, I've mentioned on multiple occasions when Brady was here that it felt like it was Tom Brady and the Bucks.
The circus has come to town.
Yes, that's how we referred to it. But now this feels like it's my Bucks. This is my Bucks. It's like the whole team. People are talking about the Buccaneers. They're talking about Baker, but they're also talking about all the other players. They're giving Todd Bowles all kinds of props. We went from
Todd Bowles. He's excited.
Yeah, I meant to save that, and I forgot to save that. We went from in the power rankings number 22. How many games were we supposed to win this year, Dave?
Depends on who you talk to, but as recent as last season, we were given 2 by a prominent prognosticator.
Yeah, I think that's what they said this year as well. And
well, they were going to finish.
They're not wrong yet. They're not wrong yet. I mean, here, you know what? Why don't I just play it?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers finished in first place last year, and
despite.
And I picked them to win 2 games. They won 7 more than that, and the general manager of the team sought me out publicly to let me know that I was incorrect.
You gonna do it again?
I'm picking the Saints first. I'm picking the Falcons second.
Ooh.
Picking the Buccaneers third. And I'm picking the Panthers fourth. I'm sorry.
Can I tell all of them to listen to the podcast?
No.
It's like I was a moron last year, and I'm going to be a moron this year too.
Yeah.
I'm consistent. I'm going to keep it consistent.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. Let's diss and disrespect the Bucs yet again.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Didn't work for you last year. Doesn't look like it's working out so well for you this year. But it's working out just fine for the Bucs. Listen, this team looks like they've stepped it up from last year. Now it's early. It's early. I always say that the first couple weeks, weird stuff can happen. Let me say this. Todd Bowles, who, by the way, nobody's calling him Todd Bowles, I've noticed. Todd Bowles every year seems to have this team ready when the season starts. We were 2-0 last year. I believe we were at least, I don't remember, but we started the season strong 2 years ago. I don't remember what the record was. And there's a point to that, by the way, because what our record is not that important right now, but the wins are important. Keep racking those things up. The wins are very important. But all kinds of, now we're getting attention. Now, I mean, the things that annoy me the most is when I hear fans complain about the referees and that the announcers are always rooting for the other team and that we don't get enough respect in the national media. Those are the things that just drive me nuts. When Brady was here, ESPN might as well have been just the TB12 network. I mean, it was the Buccaneers were constantly on ESPN. So it's not that we don't get coverage. I mean, this team had to earn it. And they have. And people are talking about them now. And one such rumor that's been brought to my attention by several people, another one as recently as tonight, is that the Carolina Panthers may be poking around asking whether or not we'd be interested in trading Kyle Trask. So we can talk about that. We will talk about the Panthers and the Falcons.
Why would you do that, Dan? What has he done to the Bucs to be even considered to be sending to the outpost of the NFL?
Well, he would be a starting quarterback. And this is the last year of his contract. Let me say this, guys. It's nice having him backing up, having him as our number 2 in the sense that if Baker goes down for a game or two, we can make it through that game or two. But if we can get a pick for him, because he's not re-signing with the Bucs next year. He wants to be a starter somewhere. He's going to go somewhere where he's going to have a shot at being a starter. He's not going to be here.
Which league?
Well,
Here's the
listen.
question.
Listen, I heard this crap about Baker before Baker came here. I heard the same kind of stuff. And look what Baker's done. Look at what
Baker Mayfield is no Kyle Trask, and Kyle Trask is
what's his name in Minnesota? Quarterback in Minnesota now. Bradford.
No.
No. What's his name? What the heck's his name? Anyway. Christopher, you'll know. Who's a quarterback in Minnesota now? I can't think of his name. My mind's going blank. It's been a long day. I drove 14 hours over the last couple of days. I'm tired.
Sam Darnold.
Darnold.
I just put in a request. Don't tell anyone in my fantasy league. I just put in a request for him as a backup quarterback in my fantasy league. It's
just between you and me.
Yeah. Don't go running off at the mouth.
I won't. But to me, first I want to say this. I don't care where you're hearing the rumors. This is always a rule of thumb. Underline this. This is the part that drives me nuts, is I can say this to people over and over and over and over again, and they just don't listen. They get excited when the moment comes. If the news is not coming from Greg Allman or good Lord, I'm punchy.
Or Bucs Report.
Well, you know what? You can trust Bucs Report because Bucs Report will only get it. Get their sources are, if they're going to repeat it, it's not some rumor that somebody or others talking about. Rick Stroud. if it's not coming from Greg Allman or Rick Stroud, just take it as just somebody's floating some idea out there, right? Just somebody's just floating it out there. When it comes from one of those two, then you can listen. Right now, it's just coming from people are just talking, whatever they're looking at it and saying, okay, here's Canales came from Tampa. They're benching their little fella up there. And, Bryce Young. And
that little fella up
the
there.
little fella up there.
The little
And,
guy.
Yeah. And,
Sorry, that just struck me as funny.
Well, I get it. It's conjecture and it's fun to talk about, but just take it as that. Take it as that. It's just people just talking. Christopher Cole says, Saints fans are saying they're going undefeated and winning the Super Bowl.
I have a take.
Well, okay, hold on. We will get to that in just one moment. But let me say
It's a very brief take, but I have one.
Okay, go.
Saints fans are stupid.
Well, look, they're 2-0 and they're fans. Okay? They haven't had much to get excited about in a while. They're all excited. Let them get excited.
Clint Kubiak has them rolling. They
say
tore up Carolina.
They've earned it. Well, they did not only tear up Carolina. They just had a nice quality win here over the Dallas Cowboys, crushing them. And if you remember, I've talked repeatedly. Christopher, Carolina radio station was talking about it. I promise you, here in Charlotte, I live in Charlotte, okay? They're talking about anything. They're reaching, grasping for straws. Imagine this. Imagine you have a radio show for 3 hours every day in Charlotte, and you got to talk about the Panthers. I mean, there's only so much to talk about. So,
things are going so well.
They're reaching. And Canales, Dave, props to you. Props to you. I think the day he got hired, you said Dave Canales will not make it halfway through the year. And looks accurate. That looks accurate. Looks like you may have gotten that correct. But I mean, I what I have heard here is the horror that everybody has over this team and how they went from really, really, really bad to really, really, really worse.
Aren't draft picks supposed to help?
Well, they traded them all away.
They got Bryce Young.
I know.
On the insistence of the owner, David Temper.
A little fella. He's trying his best. Kind of want to pat him on the head and say it's okay. They're that franchise is screwed for a while. They got their Hugh Culver house. We sucked for a long time because of him. Now they're going to go through it. They are going to be what we were for many, many years. Now they're going to be that. Dave Canales today in his press conference, when they asked him if Tepper was involved at all in the decision-making to bench Bryce Young, he said, I prefer to keep that private.
So, yes.
Which was a nice, polite way of kind of throwing the owner under the bus. He's not going to make it the full year. You were correct, Dave. He's not going to
I thought there should be odds on whether he made it to the first game.
You did say that. I remember that. It's horrible. The Panthers are horrible, and they're getting worse, and they got draft picks that they've traded away, so they're not about to get better.
Because they went all in on Bryce Young.
And they have another second-round pick is gone next year. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's wow. So they've chosen to start Andy Dalton, which, by the way, he started one game last year, and it was the best game they had offensively.
268 yards.
Yeah,
that was their high point.
That was their best game offensively. That is correct. So
look out now.
Yeah, here they come. But but let me say this: they're going to surprise somebody at some point. I don't think they're going the whole year without winning a game.
How sure are you about that?
I'm not positive, but let me say this. You know how good the Saints have looked, and they have looked really good. They've destroyed the teams they've played. They didn't just beat them. Panthers have looked equally that bad. And just like I'm sure that the Saints are not going to win every game, the Panthers are going to sneak up on somebody that goes in overconfident, isn't expecting it. God, don't let it be the Buccaneers. But
Maybe the Saints.
it's going to that'd be awesome. It's going to be somebody. They're going to beat somebody that you're not expecting. It's
Because I'm not expecting him to beat anybody. So
right. There's going to be some fluke play, something weird that happens, and they're going to win a game, and that's
it'll be
just
like
how
a 6-5 game or something
right,
crazy like
right.
that.
That's how it's going to go.
They win by safety or something like that.
Right. Which, by the way, I got to bring this up. One of the most hilarious stats to me was that the New York Giants scored 3 touchdowns and didn't allow any, and lost.
It can be done.
That's
Well,
it
in
was
week
done.
1, the Steelers won without scoring a touchdown
Yeah, but
when they beat the Falcons.
yes, but 24. They kicked 8 field goals, I think, or something like it was. They won, I think, 24-21. I mean, they scored 3 touchdowns, didn't allow a single touchdown, and lost. Wow. So the league's fun. The beginning of this season is fun. It's a little crazy. First couple weeks, weird stuff happens. It always does. And
Thank you, Bengals. I'm out of my survivor pool. Week 1.
weird things always happen. And but you did really, really, really well last year, Dave.
Yeah, well,
So I mean, but the Bucs. Let's get back to the Bucs because that's kind of a fun conversation right now. I love.
There is a problem with the Bucs.
What's that?
The leading rusher was Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
for 34 yards.
No. Don't stress over that in this game. Gedeke was out, and you're playing one of the best defensive lines in the league. They're gonna run. We'll probably rush solidly. One of our running backs will rush for 100 yards this week. You can expect a lot more running the ball this week.
Well, neither one of them got to 25 against
I
the
understand
Lions.
that. I understand that. But we were playing without our left tackle, and Aiden Hutchinson just ate us alive. Now, what's a beautiful thing is when you're sitting here looking at a game where you just beat Detroit in Detroit, and you're finding ways to nitpick about it. Okay.
I don't think it's nitpicking because that game should have been over sooner than it was. They couldn't run against the Lions, and so the defense had to bail them out at the end.
Nobody can run against the Lions. They didn't run against us. I mean, you can't run against the Lions.
They had 139 yards rushing. We had 70. And Baker had
I understand. And we had no Vita Vea, and we had but they didn't eat us up. They had a hard time scoring. They scored 1 touchdown. I mean, and that's
I'm happy about the win.
That is a high-powered offense. And we were missing 4 or 5 starters.
Well, Amon-Ra St. Brown was on the sidelines when they were trying to score a winning touchdown, which was a help as well. Of course,
we were missing guys. I'm going to repeat what I just said. This is a high-flying. Detroit has a high-flying. Remember Ben Johnson? Who's he going to be the head coach of? And he decides to stay. All right, this high-powered Detroit offense scored 1 touchdown, lost the game, and we were without 4 or 5 starters.
Oh, it was a fabulous win
on defense. I mean,
we got to run the ball.
It was a complete team win. We will run the ball. I mean, give it a minute. It's the second game under this new scheme. Watch what happens this week. You'll be fine. Okay, you'll be fine.
We're playing the Broncos at home.
Well, we were playing Detroit last week with a tough line, without our full offensive, without all of our full offensive line. We should have them back, and we're playing a bad team. If you're going to say the opponent doesn't matter when you have a bad game, then the opponent doesn't matter when you have a good game. So be fair about it. I think we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We just got probably our toughest rushing game out of the way. And Baker Mayfield. So there were also rumors about Brady maybe going to Miami. I don't know if you heard those earlier, but because of Tua, the rumors started flying about maybe Baker's going to go to Miami. Brady is going to go to Miami. First, he can't. He's part owner of the Raiders. He can't go to Miami. Second, if Tom Brady goes to Miami, I wish him the best of luck. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being our quarterback. Thank you for that Super Bowl. Thank you for changing this franchise. We are still reaping the spoils of the culture that you brought to this team. Thank you. Best of luck to you. I hope you come in. Dave? Second. Hope you come in second, Tyreek. I would hope the best for Tom Brady.
He ain't
But I
coming
would
back.
not right now, if somebody said trade Baker Mayfield for Tom Brady. Heck no. No way. Not a chance. Not
His
a
last
freaking
season,
chance.
Tom Brady did not want to get hit. He set out for a full season and has a fat contract to be a commentator.
Yep.
He's not coming back.
He's not coming back. And like I said, he's part owner of the Raiders. So it's just not happening. But I'm excited about Baker. I am very excited about Baker. This is my point when it comes to, for instance, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, Geno Hayes. There are multiple examples where you're seeing guys who did not perform well on their first team, maybe even their second team, or in Baker's case, their third team. He didn't perform well on all three. All of a sudden blossoms, and you're like, oh, this is the guy that got drafted number 1 overall. You're starting to see this happen. And what it is, and guys, I cannot emphasize the importance of this enough. If you go to a bad team with bad players around you and it's a bad system, and you have bad ownership and a bad culture and just bad all around, you're not going to win games. I don't care how good you are. It doesn't matter. But you find the right fit for your style of play and everything. And this is what I want to bring up about the Saints. I said to you guys repeatedly, the reason Baker is successful is the Buccaneers hired Dave Canales to run a system that would be Baker friendly. The Saints brought in Derek Carr and said, run our offense last year. And it did not go well. So I believe they brought in the coordinator from the Raiders. I think it was
Clint Kubiak.
Yeah. Who he was already familiar with, and said, now let's build this offense around what you do well. And that's what they should have done in the first place. And that's why the Saints look so much better. I do not think it's sustainable. I do not think that Alvin Kamara is going to stay healthy the whole year. But
he's not going to run for 4 touchdowns, and they're not going to score in every play their first 2 games, and they're not going to average 45.5 points at the end of the season like they do now.
Correct. So I think they play Philadelphia this week.
They host Philadelphia.
Yeah, and Philly's going to be pissed.
And the Falcons play the Chiefs, so we're actually
Right.
Chief and Eagle fans this week. Isn't
Yeah.
that weird?
Now the Falcons, the Eagles. To me, if you guys remember last year, the problem with the Eagles was that they'd start games strong and then just fall apart. Exactly what happened yesterday. They fell apart at the end. And I think that's what we're looking at with the Eagles. I don't think they're going to be as good as we're hoping. Or, this week we're hoping, but then we get them the week after. It's really weird because when you think about it, the Falcons, Saints, and Bucs get the Eagles 3 weeks in a row. They're just running through our division 3 weeks in a row. That I think is kind of interesting. We'll be able to sort of draw a comparison about how we all play against them. Not that common opponent is the end all beat all, but it's there. But Dave, when you watched the game, or when you watch this team, do you just feel like, okay, this is, I mean, I know before the year you were very excited about this team, but
Mhm.
as we sit here now, you seem a little more cynical, maybe.
What
Or,
is that?
well, I mean, they can't run. They can't, you're,
If they want to be elite and go to the Super Bowl and contend for the Super Bowl, they're going to need to run the ball against good teams. And they didn't do that yesterday. And the defense bailed them out. But it was a great win.
that's fair.
I still think they're going to win 12 to 13 games.
It's not like the Chiefs have a big running game, and they've been doing okay in most recent Super Bowls.
Well, before Pacheco got hurt, I mean, they can run the clock out with running, though.
Yeah,
And
and
the
that's
Bucs, I didn't see do that yesterday. Sunday.
No, I understand. Yeah, you're correct. The Bucs did not. But man, it sure feels like this defense has stepped up. The offense has stepped up. This whole team just
the cohesiveness and the leadership on this team, it's incredible.
yeah.
No, they are a team. They're a football team. They're playing as a football team.
Yeah.
They're looking on each side of themselves when they're on the field, and they're playing for the other guy 100%. And you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
As far as the culture goes, it's grade A.
Yeah.
They just need to make sure they can run the football against big time teams if you're in the NFC Championship game or you're trying to get there.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you need to be able to run the clock out at the end of the game. I really think it's coming. The averages will look different. Look, some games you're going to struggle running the ball. Statistically, I don't know if you guys know this year, I believe there are 40 fewer passing touchdowns or 40 fewer touchdowns, whatever. The passing yardage is way down this year, and rushing yardage has gone way up.
Well, that's because Harbaugh is back in the league.
Well,
that'll tilt it right there.
I heard an interesting discussion about this today where they were talking about how defenses now, the players are built differently. They're not these big, massive, beefy guys on the line to stop the run. They're more fast edge rusher types. Everybody's quicker because everybody's just trying to get to the quarterback in a passing game. So the offenses are starting to cycle back around to running. And so you're seeing
some of that's economics too. If you want to upgrade your team, it was a bit tongue in cheek about Harbaugh, but run the ball. You can get running backs on the cheap these days.
Yeah, but you haven't been able to run the last few years, and that is changing. And I think the discussion that I heard, which I thought was interesting, is that you no longer have the monsters and the midweight type of guys. You no longer have these huge, beefy linemen. You've got JTS kind of guys, faster. The idea is to go get it, go get the quarterback. And now if you run the ball right at those guys, they don't have the same ability to stop the run. They haven't had to. Makes it interesting. I do hope we shift back a little more towards the running game. I would like to see running backs become a more important part of this game again, although they were pretty important last night. At the end when Saquon dropped that pass, Philadelphia should have had that game. The Falcons did not win the game.
Yeah, it does bring into question, why didn't they run the ball twice and do the push or the brotherly shove, however you want to call it? You needed 3 yards. You can get 1.5 yards with your little push thing. So twice.
Ask
that
Pete
would
Carroll.
have sealed it.
Ask Pete Carroll why they didn't run the ball. Apparently, he's the only person who knows the answer to that question.
You got Marshawn Lynch and the Super Bowl's on the line.
it.
So let's throw an interception.
Yeah. Everybody knows we're going to run it. So
yeah, we're going to outsmart them. Outsmarted yourself.
Mm-hmm.
then we'd be talking about Tom Brady with 6 Super Bowls and the Patriots with 5.
Yep. When you pass the ball, several things can go wrong. The quarterback can fumble or get sacked. The pass can be incomplete. The quarterback can just miss his mark. The pass can be intercepted, or the receiver can catch the ball, get hit, and then fumble. When you run the ball, maybe there's a screwed up handoff. Maybe the running back gets hit and drops and puts the ball down on the turf. But that's it. Those are the only things that can go wrong. And in that situation, you want the clock to run.
Even if you run the ball and kick a field goal, I mean,
right.
Another 40 seconds are coming off the clock.
Right.
Not that the Falcons needed it, but the way they carved them up.
I don't know.
So I mean, it's unfair to just say Saquon cost them the game because the defense got absolutely shredded.
I cannot believe how bad. That's what I'm telling you. It reminded me of last year where all of a sudden at crunch time, there's just these huge gaping holes and you could just move down the field at will.
They quit putting pressure on Cousins. They
didn't do it the whole day.
Back.
They didn't do it the whole day. They didn't put pressure on him.
It's the old prevent defense. It's like you've been doing well against your opponent's offense all day long, and then it's like we're near the end of the game. Oh, let's play different. Why? Yeah. I've never understood that. It's like
because the offense is
out of rhythm and they're picking you apart.
The offense is going to play different, but your point is certainly valid. But they did not go after Cousins, and this is the coaching problem they have in Philly. They didn't go after Cousins. Here's a guy with a bad leg that you should try to be forcing him out of the pocket, forcing him to be nervous back there, forcing him to struggle because he's not really using his plant foot. He's not normal Kirk Cousins. They did not. They should have come at him more. I guess their defense only blitzes like 20% of the time. At times, that's a mistake. Now, to Todd Bowles' credit, we are known for blitzing like 40% of the plays. Todd Bowles is known for blitzing. What did we do? What did we do yesterday or Sunday? Half of that. We barely blitzed. And I am sure Carlton Davis, they said, so what do we need to expect from this defense? And he said, blitz, blitz, blitz. Be ready for the blitz. And then the Bucs didn't blitz. All of a sudden, they played a base defense because of all the injuries, no doubt. But boy,
going back to the Eagle-Falcon game, they had a shot at a long field goal, except Jalen Hurts threw an interception. So it was a comedy of errors in that last 2 minutes for the Eagles.
Yeah. They come apart at the end of games, and that to me feels like the character of the coaching.
I've never seen a team implode like they did last year. They were 10-1, and then the wheels completely came off.
And it was the same thing week after week. First quarter looked good, and then just slowly completely fall apart, game after game after game after game for the rest of the year. They were horrible. I mean, they didn't barely get beat. Like they got their butt handed to them game after game. And it just, I don't know. But Atlanta didn't look scary. Atlanta didn't win that game last night. Philly lost it. And there's solace in that. The Saints coming, ahead. I guess we got to give the devil their due. I don't know what else to do about that. So
we'll see what the Eagles can do against them. They're not going to put up 45.5 points on them.
Correct.
And okay, what is with the Cowboys? This is just sort of like I just passed an accident off to the side of the road, And I'm like, what was that all about? That's kind of the way I am with the Cowboys.
Nobody
But
knows what
what
it's the
is
same
up with?
thing.
It's like they can be world beaters and beat anybody any day, and they can also get beat by anybody. It's quite amazing to me.
Ezekiel Elliott is not the answer at running back. They don't have a running game. They don't have any kind of anything. This is the Cowboys, man. This is just what they do. One game they look great, the next game they just completely fall apart. This is the Cowboys. I mean,
Oh, it doesn't bother me in the least. In fact, it's okay by me.
it's entertaining and yeah, it puts me in a good mood. But anyway, the Bucs look good. I think we're getting some. I think Gedeke will be back this week. As far as I'm concerned, if anybody's even remotely questionable, hold them out another game.
You don't fear the Broncos and Sean Payton?
Oh, I'm not. Listen, I said this. How many times did I say this? We're going to lose some games that we should win, and we're going to win some games we probably should lose, or that you're expecting. We're going to lose some games you expect us to win. We're going to win some games you expect us to lose. Every game's hard to win. So don't go into this game overconfident and think, oh, we got this. We were 2-0 last year. Todd Bowles mentioned that to the team. He said, remember that we were 2-0 last year. Don't lose track. Don't lose sight. If the Buccaneers go on a little bit of a streak here at the beginning and win 4 or 5 games right off the top, it's going to be a very good year. So I'm pretty excited about that. Dave, you have anything you want to add?
It's early, weird things happen, but we're 2-0, and that's a great feeling. And we just got a little bit of comeuppance out of the Lions after the loss in the playoffs. People didn't give the Bucs enough credit. We had a chance. It
We're
didn't
tied
work
going
out.
into the fourth quarter, I think. Yeah.
So we had a shot at a final drive that did not work out well, but we were definitely in the game. And some people were like, the Eagles imploded. You beat them. Anybody could have beat them. That was no big win. And then you go to Detroit and you played with them. And we played with them again and came out on the positive side on the road. I think that's from a mental standpoint, it puts the team in a very good place. You can go to Detroit and win. Yes, it's the second week. And would the outcome be different in week 5 or 6? Maybe. But you went into Detroit and you won.
And the Bucs may have their starters back by week 5 or 6. So
good point.
So Vea, we got to get Vea healthy. We got to get everybody healthy. Let's get everybody back, for the end of the year. Let's try and position ourselves for then. Let's keep winning, playing well, and it's exciting. This whole thing's been exciting. Another game this week. And I think, who knows? Right?
I have a pretty good idea myself.
You have a pretty good idea? I think we can guess.
I don't think the Broncos are going to hit double digits as far as points go.
I think you're probably right. This is the defense should feast, but every time you think something should happen, it seems like it goes the other way. So the defense should feast. This should be a good game. It shouldn't be close. Be ready for it.
Well, I will point out when the Bucs played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, where I was watching at, I was the only one who said the Bucs would win in a blowout.
In a Super Bowl?
Yeah, in the Super Bowl. I was the only one.
I didn't. With 2 minutes left and we were blowing them out, I was still scared. So I don't know.
You need to enjoy these Super Bowls.
You are correct. You are correct. You are 100% correct.
Hugh Culverhouse has been deceased for quite some time now. So
yeah. Well, I'm still scared. I was still scared. All right, guys. Let's call it a night. But I'm Dave. I want to talk a little Bucks. Thanks for pop up unexpectedly hopping in. I appreciate it. I know.
As long as you don't get me at last minute when I'm in the grocery or out of town,
Yeah.
I'm good.
No, we got some viewers here tonight, so that's good. And we'll be back when we're back. But thanks for hopping on. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And you guys can always reach us whenever you want on our Twitter, X, Facebook pages. You can get us all over the place. You see some of them down there at the bottom. And if you have questions, let us know. We're happy to bring them up and talk about them. And you guys have a great day. Have a great night. And man, this was fun. Go Bucs. Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
We sucked today. I sucked today. We sucked today. It was awful.